Welcome to CarePOD, a safe place to educate, inspire, and renew the caregiver. Listen in with our host, Dr. Kiplee Bell, as she interviews different experts along the caregiving journey.
So this is one of my earlier podcasts, actually the first podcast on the CarePOD with Teepa Snow, who was so gracious to lend her voice and expertise to the CarePOD, and someone that I highly respect. Listen in as we talk about her early journey, as we talk about the positive approaches to care, which is a program coined by Teepa Snow that really speaks to the non-pharmacologic ways we should approach patients with dementia, older patients, patients that are sensitive to multiple points of stimulation, and really recognizing that the care we give of these older adult persons is important in the ways in which we approach their treatment regimens. Teepa then brought me back and said, listen, I'd love to interview you for Teepa's 10. So this is a combination of our conversations together. And again, you can see the respect and admiration I have for her as a thought leader in this space as well. Join in. All right, so I am here with one of my faves, Miss Teepa Snow. How are you today?
I am doing well today. How about you?
Very well, very well. Oh, positive approaches to care. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
So tell me about you.
Okay.
For those, I am one of your biggest fans, but for those of us who don't know who Teepa Snow is.
Yeah. So I grew up in West Virginia. Sort of tells you a little bit. My grandma was a big part of my growing up. She was my watcher caregiver for a bit when I was younger. And then my folks split. And so we moved to Pittsburgh with my mom. And there I actually was the older sister for my sister. I have a brother who's immediately younger. And then my younger sister, who was 10 years younger, who developed a brain tumor.
Wow.
Very rapidly progressing brain tumor that they irradiated. But back then they weren't real good at it. So she then had she wasn't supposed to live. She did. So she stayed at about age 2.5, 3 for her entire lifetime until she passed away in her 50s. Yeah. Now, in addition to that, my grandfather on the other side moved in when I was a kid after his wife, my grandma on that side, died due to rheumatoid arthritis complications. She had some really severe rheumatoid arthritis. And he had been her carer. And that's when we discovered, there's something going on here. And I was young. I mean, I was really young, but I actually could work with him better than my mom could. My mom, very, very much a phys ed, very rigid, inflexible. She and my granddad would with each other. And I was like, that's not working.
How old were you at that time?
About 8 to 12. Between 8 and 12 is when it really started, really started adding up. And it was like, oh boy. Okay. And so by the time I was a young teenager, I was pretty good at helping my grandfather, who had, looking back on it, he had black lung disease during the Depression. And so he had vascular dementia. I mean, but he didn't know. He had no idea. He was just weird. I mean, he would get these things and it was like, what is this about? And, moments where, where is my dinner? It is.
Right.
It's like, mom's not here, Grandpap. I mean, what can I tell you? It's like, I'm leaving. This is ridiculous. It's like, uh-oh. What are we going to do with this? Oh, Grandma, maybe leave. No one will be here.
Right.
Well, I'll stay, but I'm not like, so, okay, Mom, I need to learn how to cook. Not well, might I add, but I did learn how to cook. So guess what? Dinner was on the table at 5. So life went from there.
Yeah.
So
My mom,
besides cooking, what was an early skill that you couldn't coin then, but
yeah,
that you could look back and say, you know what, that's what has framed my career thus far?
yeah. So when things don't work, I'm still trying to figure out how to get it to work. So my mom was trying, my grandfather also liked to chew tobacco. And he used to chew tobacco and spit. And when he first moved in, he would be in the basement, and there was a can down there, and he spit, and then it was a coffee can. You covered it up, and you took it out and got rid of it. But so he would just walk around and spit on the floor as he was walking. And I could tell by your face.
Yeah, because I'm thinking you're.
And so she tried. Her first try was to take a cup and give it to him and tell him to spit in the cup. And he would spit in the cup. She'd say, "Dad, spit in the cup, spit in the cup." And then after a while, he'd go,
The
"Oh,
cup's full."
coffee," and drink it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I said, "Oh, I don't think, Mom, I." So what I did is I put a rocking chair in front of the door, the sliding glass door onto the back patio. And I put a rocking chair, I put towels down around it, and he would sit and watch the birds at the bird feeder and the squirrels, and he'd spit on the towels, but then you could clean the towels up. And it kept him from moving around so much. It got him spitting in a way that, it was gross, but you could manage it as opposed to him just spitting
in the area. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was sort of how my brain works. It's like, okay, what can I change? What can't I change? And I got to give up on what I can't fix. I mean, I can't fix him, but I also can't fix my mom. So how am I going to make this work? And so okay, wonder if she could live with this. Wonder if we could make this work. And so that desire to get it to work, because it's what you got. I mean, it is what it is. What are you going to do with it? And I think that's always been, and I'm sort of a risk taker. So it's like, okay, well, let's try it. And I believe, you get further with trying something than you do saying, well, that won't work. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
When you make a mistake, what'd you learn?
Right. So what do you think in the climate of medicine we're doing well versus what we're not doing well on?
I think when it comes to the world, particularly of people who are living with brain change, one of the things that we have a lot of trouble with is we want to define it as this is what they have. And it's like, brains don't work like that. I mean, brains are certainly, they have structure to them, but they also have this amazing chemistry to them. And so I don't think there are static states of ability. And I think one of our biggest challenges is letting go of this idea that we can, if we know exactly what they can do right now, then we can label them. It's like, but in an hour, they might be very different. So I think it's better if we can respond to what we pick up on and we notice. I think people can be really good at noticing things, but there's a desire to fix the person and try to get them to be different rather than looking at the environment and some of the other variables that we have a better shot at doing something with. And, and helping that care provider, that care person see the situation as a situation, not that person
is just,
you need to get her to sleep more. And it's like, okay, so what all have you tried already? It's like, wow, doesn't seem like that's working real well. All right. I'm wondering if having somebody with her so you can sleep is maybe something that makes more sense for right now as a first step. I'm not saying I'm not going to do it, but where's the real challenge here? You're exhausted. I mean, that's the real issue. You're exhausted, and I get it. And so is she, but she doesn't know it. And trying to convince her with her brain change, I'm not sure is the best first step. Let's get you in a better place so your brain's working a little better.
Right. And let's take less challenges as an individual.
Yeah.
Right.
Who can be up with her at night? Because we can give them some things to try with her at night while you're resting. Do you have that? Is that a possibility? I mean, I think sometimes we want to do like this thing, like, is there a pill for that? Is there a treatment for that? Is there something, some little thing we can manipulate or do so we don't have to deal with it? Yeah. And like, I can give it to you at 8 a.m. and at 4 p.m. and then in between, I'm not responsible.
Yeah. Eat all the cheesesteaks you want, and here's your lipid lowering agent. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to change my lifestyle. So can you just fix them? Can you fix what's wrong? Because I don't really want to change. It's like, they're changing. Got to tell you, I think we're going to have to change.
Yeah. Now, I saw, I don't remember if it was a TikTok or something you did recently where, the person is having audio-visual hallucinations or thinking something's coming out of the vent, and you do this teaching about acknowledging that this is indeed happening for the person. And, that was huge for me, especially as a clinician, because patients at bedside and, it almost feels inhumane or almost like in a mocking nature that you're saying, yes, I do see the monkeys. I see them climbing the tree. So then where do you go to next? Okay, you've acknowledged.
So for me, and so this is the tricky part. It's like, wow, so monkeys climbing the tree. Are you worried about them or are you just curious about them? See, and so what I haven't actually said is I see them. So it's a tricky transition. And a lot of people, it's really easy to miss that because I never agreed that I saw monkeys. But what I said is, wow, you're seeing monkeys and they're climbing the trees. Are you concerned about them or are you just curious? Because what I'm trying to sort through, okay, is this something that's just interesting to their brain? And I don't need to worry too much about it. It's just occupying their brain. Now, what I am curious about is if I engage them in something, can I get their brain to be less interested in the monkeys climbing the trees? Because mostly they're bored out of their gourd and their brain is making crap up. Or is there something about monkeys and trees and going to attack me? And is there something about that I need to pay attention to and create a safety net for? I don't know unless I'm curious enough about what they think they're seeing that I'm not seeing. And if somebody says, do you see them? I'll say, I'm not seeing them right now, but I absolutely believe you that you did. I mean, I'm not going to argue with your eyes because I can't. I mean,
right. I see you.
Yeah. So, it's my way of accepting a reality isn't necessarily the reality I'm experiencing, but boy, they sure are. And for me to deny is like, well, who died and made me God? It's just not true. It's like, well, from where I'm standing, I'm not seeing those monkeys, but if they are, is it worrying them or are they okay with it?
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. What are your top 10 themes that you've seen over your career that caregivers seem to repetitively circle back to in terms of the challenges that they face?
I don't have any time. So I talk about 5-minute intervals that people need to allow themselves 5 minutes, set a timer and move away for 5 minutes. Well, I can't. Really? I mean, if you won't allow your 5 minutes for yourself, I don't know how you're taking care of someone else well. Because in a 60-minute time, you 55 devoted to somebody else, you've got to give yourself 5. Because if you don't, gradually you're going to run out of everything that makes you effective as that care person. And many of my folks are in it for the long haul. And so we've got to give ourselves permission to take 5 and to not feel guilty about the 5. Just like, I've got to have 5 for whatever it is. And that to me is probably building it in from the very beginning. I mean, you deserve 5 out of an hour. And people won't. I mean, the number of bladders I watch over time is like, you can pee really quick, but not if you hold it for a long, long time. That's really a bad habit to get into.
Yes. So speaking of beginnings, in my Facebook group, we're on the continuum. I mean, we have, our 40 to 50s that they might not be caregiving per se, but it's on the radar. It's what should I be doing in my own life to get my house in order so that I'm not a burden on my children, et cetera, et cetera. Or people like myself that are sandwiched between, or those that are they are chronologically old, but they're savvy enough to want to gain knowledge about the caregiving space. What are those proactive strategies that you recommend?
So one of the things is to take a look at your lifestyle, and what about your lifestyle is health promotional, and what isn't? Because if you're really wedded to some habits that you have, some routines that you have, and they're really unhealthy habits, asking yourself, would I be willing to change anything about those? Or what are the areas I am willing to make change in? Whether it's sleep and sleep hygiene and sleep patterns, whether it's exercise, whether it's dietary and what you eat and how much you eat and when you eat. I mean, but looking at those, and then social connections. If you're very slim on social connections, are you willing or able to do some work in that social connecting? And then what are your fiscal resources? Do you know about how expensive all this stuff is? And have you done any thinking about yourself and what you're planning? I mean, we have long-term health insurance that I got way back when it was reasonable. I mean, this was back before. I mean, because I'm in past my mid-60. I'm past 65. So that I have that. But if I didn't have that, I would be a lot more worried than I am, because that in and of itself is at least somewhat of a safety net, because, I'm a working stiff. It's not like, we have like huge wads of money in the background here. So it's, even if you have that, it doesn't necessarily equate to a good quality care program for yourself or somebody else. So I think really looking at what you've got and what you care most about and what you're willing to do something about. Because now's a good time when we're in this, even me at this slot, I'm still at the beginning stage of really looking at myself and going, okay, what am I doing that's not so good for me and would be a challenge for people to work with me? And what would be something that would make this easier, better? Have I had any of these conversations? Have we actually had, these are my druthers, and these are really important to me. And this is, I think, let's talk about who might be my best person to make choices that are consistent with what I would have made, because it's not going to necessarily be the person that I'm wedded to.
Right.
I mean, that's just not probably going to be it.
Right.
So, but that doesn't mean I don't love that person. It just means they're not a good match for decision making when it comes to what I would. I mean, we've been different people our entire marriage,
Yes. I get that. I do a lot of teaching around that within siblings and families. Mary is going to absolutely melt down if dad is in a crisis. So we're going to choose Ron to handle end of life decision making.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm not the one to handle the fiscals, but you know what? John should handle the fiscals and I'll handle the hands-on. For mom. Now for dad, that's a whole nother story. So really thinking about, okay, so if this were to happen, do we even have a game plan at all?
Right.
Are we running around blind thinking, oh no, that's way down the road? And it's like, and then you run into people with young onset and you'll go, and it wasn't. Because you never know. I mean, that's the thing. I think if COVID has taught us nothing else, it surely has taught us there are no guarantees.
It's the truth.
So who would have thought you going into work, you better have your game plan ahead.
Absolutely. You don't know if you're coming home.
You don't know if you're going to come home. You don't know how you're going to come home. And so, we'd want everything. And it's like, really? Is that what she would have said?
Right.
Well, we never asked. Oh boy, that's a tough spot to be in when we never talked, and now I'm having to decide stuff.
Mm-hmm. Even I have to admittedly say those packets from the funeral home that say, oh, what's your favorite? What song do you want sung? What's your favorite drive? I mean, it's important, but it's like, the idea of having to go there. But it is,
Yeah.
you're right, because you just don't know.
Yeah, well, you can
Yeah,
even
no.
start with simple things like I can say, so tell me what are 5 smells that you would absolutely typically enjoy, and what are 5 smells that turn you off completely? And this is not about dying, this is about living. So, what are some things that really I should maybe try if something were to change for you? These are my go tos to at least try to start somewhere. And these are the things I need to tune people in. Don't go there. And we call it like a sensory story. Like, what's your story about yourself? Because these are things that we do ourselves without thinking much about.
Right.
Like, I don't like my music really loud, but I like to be able to hear the words if I'm listening. Don't turn it so soft that I can't listen to the words, because it's really annoying, because you start, and if we're talking, turn it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Like some people can handle all of that, stimulation, and others, yeah. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I mean-
keep me by myself in a room with peace and quiet.
Right. That's right.
Feeling overwhelmed? To-do list growing by the minute? Wish you had a helping hand? Stay tuned. The Care Cab is on its way. An errand service specifically meeting the needs of caregivers, freeing up your time so you have more time to care for those you love.
That's right. Knowing that, and it's like, if I come looking for something, don't be so over, oh, hey, look who came out. Like, hey, something I can get you, you just roaming about.
Right. I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are very subtle annoyances or idiosyncrasies that we all have, right?
We do.
Exactly. That it's so true. So true. Like, don't announce that I'm in my robe and slippers. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, so you're not dressed yet. I mean, like, if I come out, I must think I'm okay. So I don't really need you commenting on my
Yeah.
appearance.
Yeah. So one of the challenges I get from patients is hygiene. It's a biggie.
It's a
Mom
biggie.
doesn't want to shower. I had to lift up my uncle and literally throw him in the bathtub. And I liken it to lack of purpose. I find so many patients are on this full court press to retirement age. And then as soon as I can't tell you how many patients I've had that say on day 536, I'm retired from the railroad. And then everything goes downhill from there.
It's like, that was what gave here's a reality check. I was operating on habit and routine. And when you took away my habit and routine, there was a lot of loss underneath that. It was really not noticeable because I was using that ritual that I was going through every day. There was such a habituation to it. My hippocampal memory of, this is what you do every day. This is what you do every day. And then suddenly that's missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have any structure to hang anything on. There's no reason for it. And then after a while, it's like, there's no reason for bothering. And, you think, oh yeah, now we're going to do all this other stuff, but that's a lot of new to learn.
Yeah.
We've gradually shifted away from ability state. People have no idea how to start something new at that point because they're not initiators. Those folks who retired from that long-term job, they weren't good at initiation. They were good at maintenance. They did a lot of maintenance, but now where's the maintenance? And now if somebody starts trying to shove someone else into something like a shower, a total body experience. Like, I'm just going to come in and take your clothes off you and then I'm going to touch you all over and run you underwater. It's like, who thinks that's going to be a fun experience?
Yeah.
You usually have to get to first base before you go all the way, guys. And it's just like, I get it. From your perspective, it's care. From my perspective, it's intrusive.
Yeah. So do you suggest variety for us at this stage of life so that there is a variety, that work-life balance? So that is, my hunch is that as a cohort, we're totally going to be different. Like, I'll be in the home, like, where's my shower? Or, Is
Yep.
there sushi? Is there, so our cohort is going to be different.
That age cohort really does make a difference too. But we will also find that over time, with changing bodies, we get a little more hesitant about, like as your skin dries and you get into this next 20 years, your brain is going to go, no, I don't want to wet it again. Lord, the last thing I know it need, it's just gotten so fragile. It doesn't take much where if I get scratched, man, no, leave it alone. It's getting ashy, as as a friend of mine would say, it's getting ashy. Don't wet it again. It's like, okay. Little did I know. So what we assume we will be like by the time we get there, we might actually be shifting. And that's where people are surprised. Well, she always said she wanted a shower every day. And so that's what I'm going to give her. And it's like, well, now she seems to be in a different place. Let's look at washing up. Let's see how washing up goes first. And then say, you know what? Ooh, I think this has one of those rain mists. Feel to see what you think of it. This is that real soft one. What do you think?
Yeah. So they have some power over that decision making. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what I thought I wanted and now what I turn out to want, that may even change. And that's tricky because that's where carers are like, but she always said to pluck her chin hairs. It's like, well, get your hands off of me. It's like, but Mom.
Yeah. I think for me personally, with my own mother, my mom is a nurse.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
my mom is sorry. The seed. Exactly. She's the seed that planted this whole, medical climate for her own daughter. And so in my mind, it's better. What do you mean? Ma, what do you, So that has been definitely a grieving for myself along the continuum.
Yeah. And for her, it's also a grieving, but we don't recognize it. We see her anger, but we miss the grieving. Like, I brought you in this world. How dare you? You are not the boss of me. And that ability to say, Mom, you're absolutely right. I am so sorry. I was trying to help. I know when I need to take a shower. Yes, ma'am. You have always known when you needed to wash up. And I apologize. That was, I only had one cookie. Oh, one cookie. Wow. I had thought it was a few more than that. I am so sorry. I saw the empty box and I really, because it's allowing me to say, I saw the empty box and I thought you had more. And it's like, and you did, but I can let it go because it's like, and she doesn't recall it at all.
Yes. So what is Teepa's legacy?
I'm hoping it's seeing the person first and the dementia second. Because I think if we cannot see the human, that human being that we're trying to support, and what we look at first, is we always see their dementia first. I think it robs both of us of opportunities to be present with one another. Because I've got to find you as a human being before I try to treat you as someone with a condition. And, it's so hard because, but I want my mom back. Understood. Yeah. I want mine back too, but she's gone. And so, we have to let go of what we can't have to celebrate what's possible. And I'm only going to be able to see the moments of joy when I can let go of what I'm missing. And I've got to let it go so I can see the possibilities. And I'm hoping that becomes something that, until there's a cure, there's care, becomes that thing that people get. I mean, I don't have the cure, but I do know how we provide support and care can be really, really different for both of us when we can let go of what I can't have anymore.
Absolutely. Does that come from your experience with your grandpa or with your sister?
Oh, my heavens. From the real person who helped me get to this place was when I was a young NA, because there was no C back when I was an NA. You followed somebody around for 3 days and you got your list of names and you got your, we didn't even wear gloves back then, and none of the sanitary products were disposable. You wrung them out in the hopper and you wrung them out, and then you threw them in the dirty laundry, washed your hands, and went back to work. I mean, no gloves, no glory. But what I would say is Miss Jackson was one of my most powerful teachers. Miss Jackson was like a very small 4'8" woman, 4'10" woman, African American in the northern part of North Carolina, little cinder block nursing home. And Miss Jackson, probably more than most people, taught me the art of respecting my person and realizing they always know something. And I've got to be really careful that I stay curious and not make assumptions. Because she Bible slapped me. Now, if you've ever been Bible slapped with a leather-colored Bible, it will raise welts that say Holy Bible in reverse. And she only did it when I got in her face and said, "Now, Miss Jackson, we don't talk like that." And I was 18. I went, "Miss Jackson, we do not talk like that." Bible slapped me because she had shingles, and we didn't know that at the time because she had dementia, and she was behaving in such an erratic, irrational way. And up till then, I'm really well with her. And I got cocky. And so I was sure I understood because she was, had her nightgown and had her sheet up around her and had her teddy bear and her water pitcher and her Bible. And she said, "I need you to carry me to see Mr. Dukes." I'm like, "Miss Jackson, tell you what, let's get you fixed. Let's just come on back in and let's say, no, I need you to carry to see Mr. Dukes now. Come on, girl." And she called me girl, which should have been a warning, "Miss Jackson, come on, let me just help you out." I said, and she called me a white whore and bitch. She said, "Now y'all carry me or get out, hell out of my way." And I said, "Now, Miss Jackson, we don't talk like that." That was when she Bible slapped me.
Wow.
I went to the nurse and said, "Miss Jackson's on a tear, you need to give her something." And sure enough, we shot her up with haloperidol because back then it was just like candy. And then I came in the next day, I cared for her. She was totally wiped out because, of course, she weighed nothing.
Right.
Came back the next day and I said, "Well, where's Miss Jackson?" She goes, "Oh, she's at the hospital. Turns out she has shingles, 2 duoderms all the way around."
Wow. The pain.
Yep. And she wanted me to carry her to see Mr. Dukes, which in Southern speaks, Duke University Medical Center ran a clinic for populations like sharecrop families. And this was in northern, right up north of 95, 85. And people would have carried her down to Duke University Medical Center to the clinic to find out what was wrong with her. She's asked me to take her to the hospital.
How about that?
It took me 2 weeks to finally figure it out. And when I did, I went in and I knelt down. "I'm so sorry. I didn't understand." Because everybody had anticipated she was just hard to work with. And I had never found her hard to work with because I used, my grandma was Southern Baptist. So we used a lot of songs to get going and prayer to get going. And that would get her going with me. And I didn't have any trouble. But yeah.
How about it?
So
And
for me,
that's a lesson in our climate in medicine as well, that you have to listen to the patient. Like, there's so many narratives written on people. Oh, they're here all the time. They're an alcoholic. They're a drug seeker. They're a this. They're a that. You got it. And so then you just buy that narrative over time. You read the chart and you follow along. Yeah. Instead of creating your own. She has
dementia. There's no way she had OBS back then, of course, and it was like, no, she was really smart. She knew she was really sick. She knew she needed help. She knew I was the girl from church that would come, and she was hoping that I'd carry her to the doctors. And it was
that's powerful.
For me, that was a turning point. That
Absolutely.
was really,
it stayed with you all of those years.
Oh, that was so not okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun? How do you unload?
I love to go outside and do things like rake yard, clean up, go on hikes, go out exploring things, bike riding. I like going and seeing things and investigating things. I like making things. I love to bake.
Nice.
I like
What's your favorite dish?
Oh, anything. I really like making just about anything. I like experimenting a little bit, but I also love that people will eat what I make. So I make costumes for the grandkids. I haven't done horseback riding in forever because, it's not readily accessible. I used to do a little horse riding from when I was a kid too. Let's see. I like I love to read. I like to knit, crochet. I like handcraft. I'm like one of those people that I like reconstructing things and constructing things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I am so appreciative of your time. I really am. I thank you for
what do you do? See, this was one way. You're supposed to share here. So what's your favorite thing to do to decompress?
Well, that I've come to this aha moment over the last couple of weeks, actually, because I sing. There's a whole artistic side to my life that I've held on to tightly, as you get pulled further and further away in this kind of clinical tunnel vision. And so I'm repurposing that aspect of myself again.
Cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. I enjoy music and
the only thing I can't do is line dance. I can't do line dancing. Oh, dear heavens.
Really?
I don't know my left from my right at all.
Really?
Like, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. I can't do left, right. Oh, dear. So embarrassing. Suddenly everybody's looking at you. It's like, and this, I turned the wrong way, huh?
Well, you know what they say, dance like no one's watching, right?
Yeah, I can do that part. You just really, truly shouldn't be watching.
So how does someone find you?
Website. You can do lots of different things. Website, teepasnow.com.
Okay.
Straight up and down. We have Facebook. We have YouTube. We have TikTok. We have, I don't know. You name all the platforms. We're on them all.
Nice.
My name is weird enough, and that came from working with a little boy with a developmental disability. So,
how about it? Does it have a meaning, Teepa?
Teepa, well, my given name was Teena, which my mom thought was a clever way to spell Tina, which isn't. It's just hard for people to understand. But then Michael couldn't say Tina. He'd go, "Hey, Teepa, tell me a toy," because he had autism and a speech problem. And so pretty much all my friends started calling me Teepa, and then everybody called me Teepa. So I eventually legally changed it and made it Teepa. So it's a given name from a little boy named Michael.
How about it? Look at you. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to a long partnership.
Great information right from the source. For more information on how to caregive like a boss, check out impactfulcaregiving.com. Want to be a guest on the show? Contact us at CarePOD at impactfulcaregiving.com.